Welcome to Life Stories, where sometimes the people who should be closest to us become the ones who hurt us the most. Imagine fighting for your life, only to realize the family you counted on was nowhere to be found, too caught up in their own worlds to notice your struggle. This isn't just a story about betrayal, it's about the painful choices we make when love turns into obligation, and how breaking free can come at the highest cost. Stay with us as we unravel a journey of heartbreak, courage, and the fierce fight to reclaim a life stolen by those we trusted the most. What happens when the ties that bind become the chains that hold you down? Let's step into Emma's world and discover how one woman's darkest moment sparked a revolution of self-love and truth. Emma's voice faltered as the fluorescent lights overhead began their unsettling flicker. The sterile conference room blurred and swayed, and 40 pairs of expectant eyes locked onto her with an intensity that felt like a physical weight. She gripped the podium tighter, desperate to anchor herself, but her heart wasn't just pounding. It was trying to leap from her chest. The slides behind her twisted into a kaleidoscope of meaningless color, spinning just out of focus. "I'm Emma," she managed to whisper, though the words barely escaped. Then the world tipped sideways, the ceiling panels spinning above her as her knees buckled, and she crumpled to the floor. The sharp staccato of voices rose around her, someone shouting for an ambulance, a voice calling her name. But beneath it all was a deeper silence, the kind that comes when you realize your world is quietly falling apart. Hours later, Emma awoke in a hospital bed, the cold antiseptic air chilling her skin as doctors moved hurriedly around her. The word cardiac arrhythmia echoed in her foggy mind. She reached for her phone, the lifeline to the outside world, to the people who should have been waiting for her. But the screen lit up only with voicemail and unread messages from her family. Her mother, her father, and Lily, her sister, each a painful reminder of absence. Her mother's voicemail was a rehearsed apology tinged with desperation, yet void of urgency. Lily was in the throes of a self-made crisis about her apartment's paint color. Something Emma had learned, painfully, always took precedence over everything else. The family's indifference was a mirror reflecting decades of neglect. It wasn't just the missed calls or empty words. It was the unbearable truth that Emma had become a ghost in her own life, visible, yet utterly invisible. Her heart, fragile and new from surgery, ached not just from the trauma, but from the weight of being the backup daughter, the silent provider, the forgotten one. The days in the ICU passed in a haze of beeping monitors and whispered nurse rounds. Emma's mind churned with memories she had buried. The graduation her parents skipped because Lily had a meltdown, the countless bailouts she'd funded for her sister's reckless choices, the launches, the celebrations she faced alone. But as her strength returned, so did her resolve. Emma knew the family dynamic was toxic, a carefully maintained facade that only crumbled when she nearly lost everything. That night, as the city lights shimmered beyond her hospital window, she made a decision that would change her life forever. She called Jake, her college friend, trusted attorney, and the only person who had ever seen through her family's polished lies. "It's time," she said simply. "I'm done waiting for them to show up." The silence that followed was thick with promise and danger. Who do you become when the people who should protect you are the ones who betray you? How do you reclaim your life when love is the very thing that has nearly destroyed you? The next move would shatter the fragile equilibrium, and once the truth was unleashed, there would be no going back. What happens when family isn't who you're born to, but who you choose to fight for? The storm was coming. Emma was ready to face it, and to burn the bridges that had held her captive for far too long. The reckoning had only just begun. The morning light spilled through the hospital blinds, casting long, pale shadows across Emma's sterile room. Jake sat beside her, papers sprawled across the bedside table, each document a key to dismantling the life she thought she knew. The weight of what she was about to do pressed down on her chest more heavily than any physical pain. "Are you sure about this?" Jake asked quietly, eyes scanning the stack of wills, account revocations, and legal notices. Emma's gaze was steady, but inside, a storm raged. More than anything, she said, this isn't just about money or property. It's about reclaiming who I am and setting boundaries for the first time in my life. The room was suddenly charged, as if those walls had absorbed years of unspoken resentment. And now, finally, the air was electric with confrontation. Days before, her sister Lily's latest Instagram post had hit Emma like a slap. A perfectly curated selfie, captioned with fake gratitude and vague hints about family support during a supposed crisis with paint swatches. The irony was suffocating. When Emma's heart had stopped, when she needed her family most, they had been absent, absorbed in Lily's trivial drama. Now, Lily paraded her version of family for the world to see, while Emma was left fighting for her life and dignity behind closed doors. The first shock came when Emma's parents arrived, not as concerned caregivers, but as entitled guests, offering empty apologies wrapped in silk scarves and stiff smiles. Her mother's eyes flickered with discomfort when Jake calmly laid out Emma's legal moves, removing them from the will, revoking their access to accounts, even putting their vacation home up for sale. "You can't do this, Emma," her mother whispered, voice cracking but eyes sharp with something that felt more like threat than sorrow. "I already did," Emma replied, feeling a cold clarity settle over her. "You had decades to show up for me. I nearly died, and all I got was silence and paint swatches." Her father's face reddened, and he struggled to maintain a calm veneer. "This is family. We stick together." "Not like this," Emma shot back. "Not when family means sacrificing me for Lily's convenience." But the true blow wasn't just the confrontation. It was the truth that emerged in the chaos. Jake uncovered medical records that shattered Emma's fragile trust. Her parents had known about a hereditary heart condition, one that Emma shared with Lily, but they had kept it a secret from her, protected Lily at Emma's expense, letting her walk blind into danger. The revelation felt like a betrayal so deep it carved into her soul. "They chose who to save," Emma said bitterly. "And I wasn't on the list." Lily's reaction was predictable yet brutal. When confronted, she twisted the knife with public accusations, social media rants, and a desperate attempt to claim conservatorship over Emma, painting her as unstable, unfit to manage her own affairs. Emma fought back with fierce resolve, backed by Jake's unwavering support. But the battle wasn't just legal. It was personal. Each headline, each text message, each call to fix this from a family that only knew how to demand became a new wound. One night, as Emma stared at the ceiling in her apartment, she received a message from an unknown number. A photo of the grandmother's ring she had sold years ago to cover Lily's debts. The message was chilling. Who is this? The past was clawing its way back, threatening to suffocate the fragile freedom she was building. Emma realized that this fight wasn't just about severing ties. It was about breaking the cycle, a poisonous inheritance of manipulation, lies, and sacrifice, masquerading as love. Yet beneath her anger, beneath her legal strategy and social media battles, Emma felt a gnawing conflict. Was this truly freedom? Or was it a different kind of prison, one built from isolation, loss, and the heavy price of choosing herself? She remembered her grandmother's words, "Sometimes the bravest thing is to stop protecting people from the consequences of their own actions." But what if those consequences tore what was left of her family apart? The next day, Emma faced her family in a final, tense meeting. Lily arrived late, sunglasses hiding eyes that once belonged to the sister she knew. Their mother's tears were practiced, her father's patience threadbare. "You don't understand what you're doing," her mother pleaded. "I understand more than you think," Emma replied. "This isn't revenge, it's survival." Lily's temper exploded. A cup-thrown top screams echoing down sterile hospital corridors, security rushing in to contain chaos. The fragile facade shattered. Emma watched, heart pounding not with anger, but with a strange sense of release. The family that had trapped her in silence was unraveling, and she was finally free to step into her own story. But freedom came with a price. Lawsuits, public scandals, and the haunting question of whether this new life was truly hers, or just the ashes of what she left behind. And as Emma locked eyes with her reflection, framed by the soft California sunlight in her new apartment, she understood this was only the beginning. What does it mean to truly break free from family? Is choosing yourself the ultimate act of courage, or the loneliest path you can take? The next chapter would test Emma's strength, not just against the world, but within herself. The reckoning was far from over, and the truth had many more shadows yet to reveal. Emma sat alone in the quiet sanctuary of her new apartment, sunlight spilling softly across the worn pages of a journal she'd been keeping since her hospital days. The weight of the past months, heartbreak, betrayal, revelation, settled around her like a thick fog, but inside, something had shifted. The girl who once lived to please others, to carry burdens not hers to bear, was gone. The days after the storm had been a blur of legal battles, public scrutiny, and painful goodbyes. The estate sale that emptied her family home felt like an exorcism, purging decades of silence and sacrifice. She watched through her phone as strangers carefully catalogued the remnants of her childhood. The baby grand piano that had once been her refuge, the jewelry box where her grandmother's ring had lived before it was sold to cover debts not hers. When Lily tried to reclaim a few sentimental items, her desperation was raw and ugly, but Emma was resolute. There was no place for betrayal in her new life. She had traded the illusion of family for the fierce clarity of truth. And yet, freedom came with a hollow ache. The public unfolding of her family's secrets had fractured what little connection remained. Apologies from her father, the hollow regrets from her mother, even Lily's bitter threats, all echoed in the silence that now filled the spaces where love should have been. Emma found unexpected solace in the support of strangers. Those who had read her blog shared their own stories of broken families and toxic love. The community she built online became a balm, a reminder that she was not alone in choosing herself. One evening, as the California sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden hues across the cityscape, Emma received a package. Inside lay the grandmother's ring, carefully restored and mounted on a delicate chain. A note accompanied it, simple and profound, "For your new beginning." Tears blurred her vision as she clasped the necklace around her neck, feeling the weight of generations past, both burdens and blessings, finally resting on her terms. Her phone buzzed again, this time with an email from her father. The words were raw, unfiltered, and unlike anything she had heard before. "I was wrong. Not just in how we treated you, but in what family means. You are stronger than we ever were." Emma read those words and felt something she hadn't in years. A quiet release. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, but the freedom to move forward without the chains of expectation or guilt. As she closed the laptop, a message appeared in her inbox, a note from a woman who had found hope through Emma's story. "You showed me that walking away isn't giving up, it's growing up." Emma smiled softly, knowing that her journey was far from over, but it was hers to lead now. She had chosen herself, and in doing so she had found a love that no betrayal could ever steal. Outside the city pulsed with life, full of stories yet to be told, and Emma was ready to tell hers. Not as a victim, but as a survivor, a woman reborn from the ashes of a broken family. Who do you become when you choose yourself over the ties that bind? If this story touched your heart, please type 100 in the comments below. We'd love to know, where are you watching from? Don't forget to share this story with friends who might need to hear it. Thank you for watching Life Stories.